Now that I have all the data uploaded into CartoDB and a map created, I'll work on styling the data layers. I can also change the base map, zoom level, and add info windows to my map. So here I'm logged into my CartoDB account, and to open my map from my dashboard, I'll switch from Datasets to Maps, and click on my Baltimore Dialysis Centers map. I'll use the Zoom tool to zoom in to my data, and I'll start by giving it a title of Baltimore Diabetes. To do this, I'll go to the Add Element menu and choose Add Title Item. I'll click on my title and change it to Baltimore Diabetes. I also have the option of changing the font while I'm there. I'll leave it as it is, and I'll click on my map to accept those changes. I can also rename my map by clicking on the Edit Metadata link below the map title. I'll click on that, and for map name, I'll call this Baltimore Diabetes. And I'll click Save. With that done, I'll begin styling my layers using the CartoDB sidebar. And from top to bottom, the sidebar items are Add a table to my map, my layer ID number, use a SQL statement to query or filter my data, style my data with wizards, create info windows, use CartoCSS, a styling language, to style my data, work with legends, and create layer filters. I'll start with the neighborhood diabetes layer, and I can hover over my 4 layers to find out which one is the neighborhood diabetes layer. It's position number 3 here, so I'll click that to open up the panel. I'm going to work with the map layer wizard. I'm going to choose Chloropleth, which will classify the neighborhoods by a data value, as I did with QGIS. For the column, I'll choose Baltimore City _D, which is the column with the total number of diabetics per neighborhood. If you recall, this was joined to the neighborhoods in Lab 3, Task 2. For buckets, I'll choose 5. This is the number of classes the data will be broken into. For color ramp, I'll keep the yellow to red, and for polygon stroke, I'll set it to 0, which will take away the neighborhood boundaries. At the bottom of the sidebar, I see my other layers, and I'll drag the Baltimore City boundary so it's the topmost layer. I'll click the Baltimore City boundary layer to style it. I'll use a simple renderer with a polygon fill transparency set to 0. So that the fill is completely transparent, and a polygon stroke set to a black outline with a width of 1. Next, I'll work on styling the food deserts. So I'll click on the food deserts to open up the panel for that layer. And again, I'll use a simple renderer with a polygon fill of light navy blue, a transparency value set to 1, a polygon stroke or outline color set to dark navy blue with a width of 1. Then under Composite Operations, I'll select Screen. These are blending modes equivalent to the blending modes found in QGIS. And they're really helpful when you have 2 overlapping layers. And you can experiment with these blending modes. There are several to choose from. I'll drag the Baltimore Dialysis Centers above the food deserts but below the city boundary into the 2nd position. And I'll expand that layer. And at this point, the layer ordering should be Baltimore City boundary on top, followed by the dialysis centers, the food deserts, and neighborhood diabetes on the bottom. I'll style the dialysis centers with a simple renderer. I'll use a marker fill of forest green and a size of 12. And a transparency value set to 1, and a marker stroke set to 1.5. Now I'll click on the map so that the sidebar retracts, and the map I made in QGIS has been remade online in CartoDB. The legend for the neighborhood diabetes needs some editing. So I'll go over to my sidebar, find the neighborhood diabetes layer and click on that. And I'll choose the legend item. Next to title, I'll click Show and double click in the title box and type in my layer title of Total Diabetes by neighborhood. I'll edit the left label to remove the decimal places, since it's not possible to have a portion of a person. The right label, I'll also add a thousands separator to it, along with removing the decimal places. And the legend now allows the map reader to know what the data represent. From the sidebar, I'll select the dialysis centers, and I'll click the Info Window button. This allows me to set up information windows that'll open either when the user clicks on a dialysis center or hovers over it, depending on which tab I work with. And the attribute columns are listed. I'll scroll down and toggle on the name. And scroll up and also toggle on contact phone number. I'll uncheck title for contact phone number, which will just show the phone number without the field name header. Now I'll go over to my map and I'll click on a dialysis center. And I see a pop-up window with the name and phone number. If I want to reorder these, I'll simply reorder the layers over here. I can drag name above contact phone. And now the pop-up information is reordered as well. It's also possible to rename my layers. I'll click the back button to access my dashboard, and I'll switch from maps to datasets. I'll click on the Baltimore City Food Deserts layer, and the data opens in data view, and I'll click on Edit Metadata. And I'll rename this to read Food Deserts. And click Save. You'll repeat this procedure to rename the Baltimore City dialysis centers to just dialysis centers. Now for my dashboard, I'll choose my maps and reopen my map. The default base map actually works well for this map. However, I'll click the Change Base Map button to reveal the array of other base maps that are available. I can choose another base map simply by clicking on it. And you can experiment with other base maps and explore these options. In the final task, you'll create and share your data visualization.